If you played Fortnite on the PlayStation 4, Sony just locked you out of playing it on the Switch or the Xbox One.
Hot take.
Folks, people are angry right now because if you tried to play Fortnite on the PlayStation 4 once upon a time and bought anything on it, your account is now locked onto that system. If you try to play it on the Switch or the Xbox One, your system doesn't come over, and you know what? That's not really the big deal right now. No one's really talking about the Xbox One all that much. They're really angry though because of the Switch. The Switch just basically got Fortnite for the first time, and everyone's really excited to play it because it's probably one of the biggest games to be released on the system.
Right.
And now you're locked.
Yeah, it was a huge highlight of the conference. Well, I think that it was officially a direct, right, from the other day. And I heard that right now, in the first 24 hours at least, 2 million copies of Fortnite were downloaded.
Yes, yeah.
So it is a fairly big title on the console, and yeah, it's I believe that everyone does have a right to be in a bit of an uproar. If you have a PS4 and you want to move that content onto your Switch, you're out of luck, man.
Yeah, I believe that accounts for quite a large portion of the Switch user base right now.
Absolutely.
And it is it's a downloadable title. But like the idea that everyone's so upset about this goes beyond just gamers. Sony's stock actually just fell 2%
That's right.
after all this started to blow up in their faces. And why people are so upset is if you played Fortnite on the PlayStation 4 at any point, you downloaded some cosmetic items and stuff like that, those items are now locked to that account and you can't use them on anything else. But you can.
Right.
This is what the Sony rep had to say.
Yeah, so they basically said, they started out with a spiel like, oh, we're all open to hearing everything that the PlayStation community has to say, yada, yada, yada. But they basically admitted, like, look, we also have Fortnite crossplay with PC, Mac, iOS, and Android devices. So everything else, except for 2 particular platforms, which, I mean, that... Yeah, exactly. It's a very blatant move on their part. Like, yeah, no, it's fine. We're cross compatible with other devices, just not our competitors.
Okay.
Basically.
Now, I want this to be very well understood. Now, a while back, there was another game that everyone was playing a lot called Rocket League, and Rocket League also didn't have cross-platform compatibility at all, right?
Okay.
And this was a thing that people were really upset about at the time. But Sony actually brought a reasonable discussion to the table, and they said, the reason we can't do that is because we have an online ecosystem that can't be shared with others because we have different agreements, we have different networks, different servers. There's a bunch of different stuff going on there, and that reason was good enough for me. It made sense because I understand that they've had hacking issues and problems in the past, and it's something that they don't want to allow to be opened up. And plus, if you have an Xbox player that has agreed to a certain set of conditions and rules, they're playing with Sony players, if that person were to do something really malicious or bad to the Sony player, they can't do anything about it because that's an Xbox player existing on a different platform. So those things made sense to me, even at the cost of it being against gamers in general. I understand what they were talking about, and it was reasonable. But now you can play on PC, Mac, iOS, Android devices.
I also want to remind you, just to kind of toss this in there as well, the PS4 has done cross-platform compatibility before with games like Portal 2 and Valve with Steam in the past.
Exactly.
It's not like they've been like a closed-off ecosystem. I mean, it seems to me like... Well, we know that the PS4 is the #1 selling console right now.
You know why they were doing that back then, though?
Yes.
Because the PlayStation 3 was struggling, right? Now the PlayStation 3 and the Xbox 360 are close enough, in the sales, but that doesn't matter anymore.
I think you're getting to the point that I'm getting to, where the PS4 is the king of the mountain right now, and they're basically saying, why do we need to do that?
Yeah, right? Because Microsoft was in the same position with the 360, and they did that with the 360 originally, right? And these companies tend to do this in stupid ways. But here's a game that isn't really something that they have to really worry about. It's basically just a console seller. It's basically just a system seller. And to lock that kind of content out there is incredibly ridiculous.
Yeah.
See, here's the problem I have. If Sony's prior argument was about that kind of stuff, now that it works on iOS, now that it works on Mac, now it works on PC,
Android.
now it works on Android, you're now dealing with a completely different user base. If somebody on the Android makes fun of you and calls you a bunch of racial slurs, that stuff now can't be blocked out because that player is on a completely different thing, agreeing to completely different terms. Sony's prior reasoning for having Rocket League not work on other systems is now completely false. They made that up. They just lied.
Right, absolutely. And we've heard from the other sides of this whole like argument, this whole spiel. Like we've heard from Reggie Fils-Aimé, who basically said like, look, no, I have nothing to do with this. My company, Nintendo, has nothing to do with this because, we make it so that it can be, cross compatible with other systems like the Xbox. But we can't tell another ecosystem or another player in this game what to do. We can't tell the people who make the PS4 tick
100%
what to do.
Yeah. And you know what? If they didn't allow it to be used on other systems at the same time, like if you couldn't use the PC or the Mac and iOS, right?
That would make sense.
That
it was
would
a
make sense.
Completely confined ecosystem.
100%.
Yeah.
But the fact that they're willing to do this now just shows a level of arrogance and stupidity that is quite frankly embarrassing. This is the kind of stuff I get really angry about with these companies when they get so big. You remember how hungry Sony was with the PlayStation 3?
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, they were thirsty. They were going out there. We're going to give you everything. We're going to do the best things possible. And they were trying hard. And now they're in that really comfortable position where they're like, we don't have to do much. You know what? This is now going to backfire. Losing 2% of their already pretty insignificant stock is a big deal, right? Now, yeah, this is going to affect them in a bunch of ways, including the way consumers see them. Because if somebody, okay, how about this? They don't have a portable system anymore that they're willing to support. And if you ever bring up the Vita again and act like you even supported that, Sony, oh my god, you did not.
But I'd appreciate seeing it again anyway.
Likewise. But right now, there is no portable way to play Fortnite on a home system aside from the Switch.
That's true.
So if you're willing to have this work on Android and iOS, what's the big deal? Like, well, I don't understand. What are they trying to do here? Here's the crazy thing about Fortnite. As of this current recording, Fortnite on the Switch doesn't run as well as it does on other systems. It runs at 30 frames per second, it runs under 1080p, and in some instances, the resolution actually jumps down beneath 720p, so it can actually be an under high definition game at some points. There are going to be elements where people are playing the Switch game with other people, so let me tell you, Sony, how this would have worked, okay? You would have had a whole bunch of people out there playing the PlayStation 4 version at higher frame rates, at larger resolutions, and they would have consistently been beating up all the people playing the Switch version. Do you know what would have happened? People playing the Switch version would have been like, oh, I should buy the same system my other friends have so I can be on the same playing field. But no, you prevented them from seeing that. Do you see the problem here? When you're comparing your console against others, you've created a good system, so you have to allow the consumers to kind of come to their own terms and understand that stuff. Fortnite is a free-to-download game. You're not losing any money. When people play online, when they actually bought the PlayStation Network service, they are now paying to play that game online, and they can't take stuff that they bought to the other versions of their systems they've purchased beyond the iOS, the PC, the Android, and all the other stuff there. You've locked it out for no reason.
Yeah, well, there is a reason. The reason is that the people who played and built up their characters on their system will be scared to jump ship. Like they're just making this is just a move to try and contain those Fortnite players. They don't even want them to dabble with these other systems to see whether or not they could. Oh, this other system's better. I'll make that jump. They don't even want people testing that water. It seems like.
But see, here's the problem I see in this right now.
Well, it's a very aggressive move.
It's an aggressive move.
It comes off as nothing more than aggressive.
But it's going to work against them because what I see is people that have the PlayStation 4 version going, hey, you know what? If I have a Switch character, a Switch account, or an Xbox account, I can play it anywhere. The PlayStation 4 just limits me. So if I've got some friends on Xbox One and Switch, I have to make another account. So let's just say you got a whole bunch of people buying this brand new system that is kind of doing really well. Might be called the Switch.
Right.
If all these people are now making accounts for that system, they're more likely to make accounts on that system and keep that account there because they're going to be afraid that you won't be able to use it on the PlayStation 4, right? That's what's going to happen. There's no way that this plays out where it benefits Sony. This is just a bully tactic that makes no sense. And look, I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt. I'm going to say that early on, they didn't expect it to have this kind of backlash, obviously, but they didn't think people cared about it this much. I believe that Sony is in a position right now to put a good step forward and a foot forward and basically just say, hey, okay, we're going to change this up so people can play it. I believe Sony is going to want to do that because
absolutely.
they are seeing such a blowback from this that there is no benefit to them.
I wouldn't be surprised that in a couple of days we hear from some sort of Sony rep saying like, look, no, this has been like, turned back, and we're going to be creating a cross-platform ecosystem for Fortnite because
I'm shocked we didn't see a change within the first 24 hours, but I do believe everyone's at E3 still, and maybe that's the reason why that didn't happen.
They've been getting nothing but message after message about this, and even though we have heard a lot from many different sources, we haven't heard anything from Epic. Epic has stayed like completely silent about it.
Well, they don't want it. They don't want to. Yeah, right.
So they're basically just like, oh, whoa.
Yeah.
Just letting everyone else duke it out. So yeah, we'll have to see if the PS4 folks, we'll take this feedback and be able to deliver and give the experience that people are asking for.
Sony right now are the leaders in the industry when it comes to console manufacturing. They are the ones that have the most sales. They have the most audience.
They've doubled the sales of the Xbox One right now.
Yeah, it's incredible, right? They have 4 times the sales of the Switch.
Right,
they're massive. And right now, they need to be able to demonstrate that where they are, they deserve to stay there. And every time one of these companies gets too big and does this...
This happens every single time.
And if they keep doing this kind of stuff, they're going to lose their footing again, and another company's going to come up and just swipe them on underneath. And then that company's going to get big enough and go, well, I guess we can do the same things now,
it's
too.
It's a consistent rotation, and no one's like learning from the history of these consoles, unfortunately.
Just do it right. Just do it right now, and then hold that audience and keep those gamers there. There's no reason why they should be doing this.
We just want to play games, play nice, give your users what they ask for,
This isn't like...
At least listen. Yeah. At least listen to your users.
It's not even an exclusive Sony game. That's what really gets me at the end of the day. It's not like they were making sales off the game, right? This is literally something else.
That's understandable to an extent, but it's not. It's Epic.
It's just insane. It really is. Folks, what do you think? Are you really upset? Do you play Fortnite and are you locked in this battle? Do you want this to change? Or are a couple of you out there, folks, that actually don't care about this at all because you don't care how the Switch players or how the Xbox players feel about this? Let us know in the comments below.
Shane needs an Advil.